Hello my fellow Almaden Valley neighbors, we are very happy that you are taking the time to view this presentation. We are a small group of your neighbors in the Spring Path Lanes Circle Hill Drive area, directly affected by a developer attempting to use the controversial Builders Remedy Act and the SB 330 to bypass existing zoning and environmental laws to build on a greenbelt area. A brief summary of just a couple of the egregious parts of this developer's proposal include, and are not limited to, the destructive removal of some 200-plus old historic oak trees, the use of a septic pit leach field as the sewerage and sanitation dump for this proposed development, and to place such a facility on a steep hillside above existing homes. This video and presentation that we are making here today was triggered by a notice of public hearing that was sent out by mail to some of us whose residences directly adjoin this proposed development at the top of Circle Hill, but we are reaching out to you, the wider neighborhood and Almaden community, to join us in putting an end to what has been a 2-year-long plus process by this developer of wasting county resources, frustrating the neighborhood, by his incomplete and hasty application to use the SB 330 plus Builders Remedy to bypass the normal land use development process that safeguards our community. Allow us a moment of your time to explain in layman terms how we came to be in this situation. As many of you know, or likely have heard, almost every city and county here in Northern California, and likely throughout California, was deficient in 2023 and 2024, and probably other years, in having their housing plans to deal with the housing crisis, i.e. in particular, affordable low-income housing up to date. The result of this, and a combination of SB 330 and the even older Builders Remedy Act, was that during that window of time, many hastily formulated, and frankly just opportunistic, developers submitted pre-applications for developments under SB 330 rules that, quite frankly, would never get past any kind of review, even under the Builders Remedy Act, which allows bypassing many city and county environmental and zoning laws. This particular developer has in fact not one but two such hastily filed pre-applications with the county, as his proposed developments are on the county side of the line where Almaden Valley's San Jose City borders end. You will see later why this in particular has both his developments using septic pit leach fields to deal with sewerage sanitation and his two poorly thought out proposals. On August 1st, after a nearly 2-year-long multiple extensions of times to correct the deficiencies on both his Almaden Valley proposals, the County Department of Planning and Development finally made a decision to deem incomplete both his applications, which prior to this had each individually received 5 letters notices of incompleteness, meaning they were so deficient of critical details or proofs of statements that the merits of applications could not even be reviewed in totality for consideration by the county planning. As our laws allow, an appeal by the developer was filed, and on Thursday, September 25th, a final hearing on the matter, with community input, will be heard at the Board of Supervisors chambers by the County Planning Commission.
On a purely bureaucratic basis, this meeting on this coming Thursday, September 25th, is purely to deal with the appeal by the developer against the Department of Planning and Development staff decision to finally rule incomplete and close their 2 applications in the Almaden Valley area, both of which have each had 5 formal letters, notices of incompleteness. However, public comment on the matter is allowed, and regardless of the incompleteness of his applications, it is important that the planning commissioners who oversee the County Planning and Development Department hear from the community not just on the over 2 years long drawn-out, still incomplete applications, but get a sense from the community about how these hastily opportunistic, poorly thought-out applications would affect the neighborhoods should they ever get completed for actual consideration. Why is the community's physical, verbal, and petition so critical for what appears to be a purely bureaucratic hearing? The reality is nothing occurs in a vacuum. This will be the first time that the Oversight Planning Commissioners can hear community input. The county's 2023-2024 failures to have a housing plan has errantly allowed to drag on with these Builders Remedy SB 330 pre-application that seek to lock in applications that can get away from normal zoning and environmental laws. We are planning, along with the other Almaden Valley group at the Harry Road Project, to appear and support fully the Department of Planning staff's decision to finally end both of these incomplete application proposals. The county has fixed its housing plans to be state compliant, and as a result, low and middle income housing in the county jurisdictions that border our City of San Jose areas, i.e. Almaden Valley, should no longer have this unfortunate loophole for opportunistic developers to try to take advantage of. Supporting the end of this application does not mean the developer cannot return with a fully thought-out proposal that takes into consideration neighborhood and community considerations. It means, as long as the county maintains a compliant housing plan, that the Builders Remedy SB 330 loophole exploited by developers will not be open to them, and they will have to go through normal zoning and environmental processes.